I follow a path marked by tiny crystals. They are raindrops glistening in the sun. Suddenly the wind picks up and blows the clouds in my direction. Rain begins to fall. It lasts just a few moments. The birds continue with their business. I watch a pair of galahs play and strip a gum tree of its bark. And just as it's time to leave, blue skies emerge, and I find myself pondering change. Big or small, changes can come suddenly, and while they can be unsettling, it does not follow that they are negative. Change makes space for the new. I catch this deep thought and continue on my way. Hello Wonder Weavers, I hope that you've had a beautiful week creating. Here in Australia this week, I finally have felt the breath of winter. It is starting to cool down, and fortunately as the weather cools down, we are receiving a little bit of rain. As the weather cools down, I'm feeling that urge to slow down a little bit and reflect. So I've been enjoying a little bit of rest while playing in the dollhouse. So next week I'm hoping to finally deal with the floor of the first floor. And this week I made my first kitchen range, and that was a really beautiful process. So as you will see shortly, I adapted my range from Jane Harrop's template. This is her book, Edwardian Era, Miniatures in 1:12 scale. I really love this book, and I'd be curious to know, Wonder Weavers, have you consulted it? Have you made furniture and other items using it? Please share with us in the comments below. You might also like to share another book or resource that you consult on a regular basis and love. As always, Wonder Weavers, I love to hear from you. Thank you for your encouraging and beautiful comments. I love reading them. I also love hearing about what you're creating, so please continue to share. And lately I've been thinking about other ways that we can connect and share. And one thought that has popped into my mind is to maybe start a book club. And as you know, I have a love of children's lit and fairy tales. So if you think that that might be something you'd be interested in, please write to me by email or let me know in the comments below. I would really love to hear from you regardless. Okay, let's get to it. Let's make a kitchen range. This week I returned to work on the dollhouse, focusing on making a mini cast iron kitchen range. I begin the project by consulting Jane Harrop's Edwardian Era. This book is a great starting point for me since this is my first ever kitchen range that I'm building, and the book provides a step-by-step guide. After becoming more familiar with the process and looking at the materials I have, I decide to adapt her project. I also search online Victorian kitchen ranges. I found some great articles and posts online, including this one on the screen by Mr Victorian, who writes about the different cast iron ranges during the Victorian period. Mine will be a closed range and will consist of an oven with a fitted door, an ash pit, door catch, a flue, and a stovetop. The range will also have legs. To build the basic structure, I've decided to try and use corrugated cardboard. I start by gluing the sides to the back of the range. I'm using super glue for this task because I want the pieces to hold together instantaneously. In this way I can be a tad impatient. Next I glue 2 rectangular pieces which will act as inside supports. Next I glue the top and the bottom. While the cardboard I've chosen is sturdy, its corrugated edges are ugly. Instead of starting again, I brainstorm, thinking of ways that I can conceal the visible edges. I come up with the idea of splitting a craft stick in half. Following the length of the sides and the front of the range, I cut the craft sticks up into smaller lengths and glue them into place. I then fill the gaps with multi-purpose filler. While the filler is drying, I have a dig around in my art supplies and find some backing board from an art pad. This I decide will be better for the front of the range. So reusing my corrugated cardboard pieces as a guide, I recut the parts. Following Jane's instructions, I use dowel to make hinge joints. The dowel I'm using is 2.5 millimeters in diameter. From the same rod, I cut out small door knobs. Meanwhile, for the door knob of the oven, I cut one piece from a 5 millimeter rod. Next, I mark out guidelines to help me position the doors. I draw a 1/2 centimeter border around the edge, and then a small square which I cut out. This will be the mouth of the oven. I sand all of the cut dowel pieces and also the edges of the range. Now it's time to glue all of the doors to the front of the range. For this job I'm using wood PVA glue. I've found that this type of PVA creates a strong bond. Next I paint a layer of gesso. Once dry, I paint the range with black acrylic paint. I then glue the front of the cooking range to its sides. I then attach the hinge joints and doorknobs. And to finish the hinges, I glue elongated triangular pieces of cardstock, black in colour. To accompany the range, I'm going to build a recess. For the back of the recess, I'm using backing board, and then for the mantel and its pillars, I've cut rectangular pieces of balsa wood. I sand all the parts. As I sand the longest piece, which is for the mantel, around the two front corners. To the backing board, I first glue a support and then the pillars. And then finally, I glue the mantelpiece. Above the range will be a rail. For the rail, I'm going to use dowel, and to help hold it in place, I cut two rectangular pieces of balsa wood and round their front corners. I gesso and paint the recess black. I'm going to make for my mini range decorative tiles using a William Morris pattern. I'm only going to use a 3cm strip of the paper. Once I've marked out the strip, I divide it into 1cm squares. The pattern I've chosen is really detailed, so to make sure that I glue down the squares in the correct order, I cut and glue them one by one. Once I've finished gluing the 3 rows of paper tiles, I use matte medium to seal them. And then once completely dry, I varnish them with clear nail polish. In the end, I add 4 coats. Now it's time to add the finishing touches. I glue the legs of the range made out of backing board and the rail painted gold. The flue is made from dowel rod and a wooden 1 cm cube. And let's see what it looks like in the dollhouse.
Thank you for watching Wonder Weavers. I hope that you have a really beautiful and magical weekend. Until the next time, take care, stay well, and don't forget to play. Adios. Ciao.
What do you think, Cordelia? It's almost time for a cook-up.